Hello.
Welcome back to Onesie Piece, where two grown men in onesies argue about a cartoon.
My name is Estevan, and I'm the one in the shark costume who hates anime.
My name is Wade. I'm the one in the penguin costume, and I can't get enough.
He just slurps it up like a 7-Eleven slushie.
Yeah, brain freeze
Every
on my
day,
anime.
every night, just anime.
I can't get enough. I'm whacking off to anime every
You
chance
disgust me.
I got a fetish for any type of anime. All of them.
Ew.
I don't actually like anime that much, but I do like anime. It's okay.
I actually do kind of hate anime.
I know you do.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross.
I'm sorry.
You're kind of a fuck.
You can't say that.
I don't know. Who gives a shit? We're not making any money. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
They're gonna kiss you if you're not careful.
Ooh, that sounds pretty nice. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon?
Oh, I'm doing just great. How are you?
You doing gravy? I've had the shittiest fucking day. But enough about me. This week we're going over Drum Island.
I liked the way you did that with your mouth.
You don't know how I did that, or you like?
I liked the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Baby. Years of practice. Baby. Yeah, we talked about Drum Island. Give me one sentence. What did you think of Drum Island?
It was a roller coaster of likes and dislikes.
Yeah, that's. I'm okay with it. If you say one thing's for sure, it was fucking a hell of a lot better than Little Garden.
Absolutely, it was at least a step forward.
Miles better.
I'll give you a mile better.
A mile?
Maybe miles, but it's at least a mile better.
It's a fun one.
It's interesting. What did you think of Drum Island?
I liked Drum Island more this time than I did the first time.
Okay. Did you like it all the way through, or are there parts you don't like?
I don't have many things to complain about.
Oh dear.
Very minimal.
I have things to complain about.
Well, I will say so everybody's like a big complaint is that the backstory that you get. A lot of people say the backstory is better in the anime than it is in the manga.
Is that right?
Yeah. Which, so, for the sake of comparison, I went and watched the 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I liked what they did more with the Doctor's character in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name. I came very ill prepared. But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Quack.
Yeah, the Quack, exactly. I liked what they did with his character. I felt like they did it a little bit more justice in the anime. However, I fucking hated in the manga. Basically, how it goes is Luffy's about to punch Wapol in the face, and then the backstory begins, and it's just straight backstory for the next however many chapters, and then we come back into it. And I felt like that was really smooth. In the freaking anime, it kept going back to Luffy running around being a dipshit trying to get Chopper to like him, and that annoyed the crap out of me. I'll say that. That annoyed the living crap out of me.
It felt like a big waste of time, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And it's like, I get what you're trying to do, but you're just giving him more reasons to complain about Luffy. That's all I could think about. It's like, Luffy wasn't this annoying in the manga. He chased Chopper down for like one scene, a couple panels. It was kind of a goof, kind of a gaffe. It was funny. And then it was over. They didn't drag it out throughout the whole, but it kind of took away from the backstory a little bit.
So here's my takeaway from this series of episodes here. I felt like they had the foundation and the building blocks to make a really great arc.
Yeah.
But then they completely dropped the ball in the second half.
Okay.
I stopped watching it on 2x speed for most of this arc.
You were that intrigued by it. You were like,
I was intrigued.
Okay,
I dropped it down to 1.5.
We'll see if we can get them down to 1.0, everybody. We'll see.
All right, don't hold your breath. But anyway, so I thought, like I said, foundation for an amazing like story
Yeah.
and conflict.
Yeah.
Where I think they've really dropped the ball,
Mhm.
it comes down to the inclusion of Wapple.
Yeah.
I,
I don't disagree.
I felt like they could have made a really cool and compelling story had Wapple not been there. Because he kind of takes away the thunder of the main conflict that draws them in. So, like, the whole reason this arc happens is because Nami is sick and they need to find her medical attention, or else
Right.
she's going to die.
Yes.
And they kind of introduce all these interesting characters and dynamics with this old hag who lives up on the mountain who might be able to save her, but she has her price.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And like big obstacle number
Sorry.
one is getting to her. Big
Right, because
obstacle
she's
number
on a
two,
giant mountain.
exactly.
Giant, very 90-degree mountain.
Exactly. I thought that the big obstacle number two would have been convincing her to
Mm,
save Nami,
okay.
or if not that, then haggling with her in order to be able to leave.
Okay.
I think that would have been a much better. Like, what really annoyed me about this is how it's it's coming down to like, why does every conflict in every arc have to end with the Straw Hats punching their way out?
Yeah,
Because
because it's an anime, probably. But I get it.
characters, you're not giving characters the room to grow like that. I feel like characters do their best growth when they're presented obstacles and conflicts that challenge them, and they can't always find a way out, you know?
Yeah.
So when they have to approach a situation in an angle that they've never had to before.
Yeah.
But we're falling into the pattern of like, no matter what they face, Luffy's just going to punch their way out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, part of Luffy's character is that he really only knows how to fight. He doesn't really know, and I liked how they showed it in this arc a lot. How he had to restrain himself at certain points to fight, to not fight, and how you could see him literally struggling with it, and that he did it, you know.
So this might blow your mind a little bit, but for the half of the arc that I like, I was impressed with Luffy.
Yes. Okay. Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Let's start it. I want to get into this because I will say I kind of saw this coming and it made me happy. I've been excited for this arc because I knew Luffy wasn't he's still Luffy, but he shows a lot of care. And so I've been excited to get to this arc specifically for this reason. Um, but there's a lot of pieces I completely forgot about that as I was reading through, I was like, this is what Esteban has wanted all along. There's no way he can complain about this. So I'm glad that you at least admitted it. I understand how the second half was. The first half was he shone bright in the first half.
What I loved the most was Luffy was this character who was like taking in information, processing it in his own way, and making decisions based on that information, which turns out what I thought was a low bar, he managed to do.
Exactly. And
it blew my mind that he was meeting that bar.
Good. We're making progress. That's all I ask.
But second half done.
Second half
Out
done.
of it. He bar like plummeted again. Like he was not doing that anymore. It was just back to punch his way out, Luffy.
Well, I mean, that is true. That is true. Because that is a big piece of his character.
I shouldn't say punch his way out, Luffy, just annoying, yell all the time, Luffy.
Yeah.
Like stupid, idiotic, imbecile, fool, annoying to watch Luffy.
I mean, he's always going to be like that, but he has his moments.
He doesn't have to be, though. This arc proved that he doesn't have to be.
But I mean, I feel like if all of a sudden Luffy was super, like, serious and thinking, then that's even worse.
But
then you're just
he wasn't
ignoring the
always
character
super
that was
serious.
created.
He can be like the character that we saw, but still have his optimistic and like lighthearted side. There's a balance that can be struck there.
I mean, he's a goofy guy. He doesn't take things too seriously.
That's fine. That's fine. As long as he, like acts like a person, like thinks about things in his own way. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But he's either like one end or the other. He's just like not processing anything around him and just doing what he does. Or how we saw in the first half of this arc, he's still being that optimistic, lighthearted fellow, but still making decisions based on what's going on around him.
Okay, I'm curious when the transition happens. So let's start going through. This arc is going to be a test. It's for sure going to be a test because it's pretty heavy. There's a lot of pieces to it. I want to obviously get through it quick. We've been trying to cut back on time these last few. We've been doing really good with it. And so we're going to just try to cruise through, hit the main points as we go along, and get through this whole arc in, I don't even know what time we started at this point. We're 11 minutes in, so an hour, 20 minutes. So let's get going. So for you, did you ever see Smoker? At the end of Little Garden, I said that Smoker diverted course to Alabasta. Did that ever happen?
I never saw that happen.
All right. Well, it did. I was just curious. We find out that Nami is very sick, right?
Yes.
Immediately. She's got a fever of 104, and they're heading to Alabasta where a revolution is happening, and time is of the essence getting to Alabasta. But without their navigator, there's all this crazy shit happening on the Grand Line, and like they are going to die without her, more or less, and also she's going to die, and so more importantly, they need to save her. The navigator, I feel like, was a tack on, right? But inevitably, I think Vivi and Luffy and the whole gang, it was like, we can't just let Nami die. That was
right. They were more concerned about their friend dying, really, than their navigator dying. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, we see Wapol here for a little bit with the dude standing.
Yeah, he just shows up. Yeah, that was weird. I didn't like that.
I thought it was kind of funny.
I don't like his face.
That guy. The guy. Yeah, he's pretty stupid looking guy. He reminds me of something out of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, you're right.
But he's standing on the ocean, and Wapol comes out. Luffy quickly beats the crap out of him and shoots him off into the sky, and they move on. They move on. They end up at an island called Drum Island, which we learn it's a snow island, like a winter island.
Yeah, they went into this huge detailed description of why there's different seasons, and I was like, I don't fucking care, man.
Yeah, that even confused me. They were like, a winter in the winter island is like a double winter. It's really wintry.
They do this a couple times throughout this arc as they go really deep into the explanations, be it scientific with the seasonal islands or political with all the world governments and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't care.
But I find it strange that you don't care because you love world building and that's what it is. It's just Oda throwing in his little sense about how the world works. Yeah,
but it's not being built organically. It's being shoved down your throat in these huge pieces.
I don't know. I don't think I agree with that. It's at the end of the day, they're very small pieces. They're just a few minutes in length.
I disagree. I feel like there's when you divert from the narrative to just explain something for the next minute or two, that's really inorganic and disrupts the flow and all that. And I feel like there's ways to present that information without just cutting off the story.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing. I feel like the seasons thing was kind of out of the blue. The world government thing, I don't totally agree with. That was a little more it fit in there a little bit more. It wasn't just a random thing. What I'm thinking
of is they broke down how the Baroque Works organization is. And they got into numbers of there's this many members of this level.
That's what you're thinking of?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I was thinking of the little bit of backstory we get for Vivi.
Oh, yeah, that was fine. That was just a flashback.
Okay, because that was kind of world government related as well.
Yeah, I misspoke.
So, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, whatever. Fuck Baroque Works. Regardless, they end up on this island where the people immediately start shooting at them, or they've pulled their guns out, right? And Luffy naturally just wants to beat the crap out of all of them because one, they need to get Nami to safety, and so Luffy wanting to get her to safety, his first gut reaction is like, well, let's just beat the crap out of everybody till we find a doctor.
Right.
Not the best choice, but it's a choice. But this is when we see that first moment of Luffy that I loved, and it's Vivi is basically tells him, like, stop. We can't just, like, beat the crap out of all of them. I don't remember the exact reasoning. Is it just because she doesn't want to hurt people, essentially?
I don't remember.
But regardless, so he does. He stops. He decides he's not going to beat the crap out of him, and then they shoot Vivi.
Yeah.
And so then Luffy really starts going off the rails and really wants to beat the crap out of him. And Vivi got shot in, like, the shoulder. It wasn't, like, a deadly hit. And she, like, grabs Luffy by the leg and begs him not to fight them because, they think they're all pirates. The reason why they wanted to fight him was because they were pirates, and because we find out that their island got destroyed by pirates, kind of.
Yeah.
Kinda. Also kind of like
they have a bad history. Yeah, they have a bad history with
the pirates. Got Wapol out of there though, but he took all the doctors with him.
Yeah, that whole like storyline with Wapol and the doctors, I thought was so dumb.
Yeah, it was forced for sure.
It was like when you like say a word so many times it starts to lose its meaning.
Yeah,
there were a couple words with this arc: doctor, medicine, science. What else? There were a couple others that I was thinking of, but those were the main three that really started to like lose their meaning for me. Like, is this an island just their culture is based around doctors?
I know. I totally agree with you, and it was like we're trying to find an island of doctor, or like a doctor, just one doctor, and you're telling me we stumble upon the island of doctors.
Right, yeah.
What are the chances of this?
Every doctor on this island, their whole identity is being a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what he was... The whole point was that Wapol being the king, Wapol, whatever, being the king, took the doctors away from him. He was being selfish. I get the point that was trying to be made, but I agree that it was kind of a... It was forced in a little over the top. It was...
There are more clever ways to, like, push your tyranny on a nation. Other than, like, taking away their medical supply.
I know. Yeah, so I agree with you that I didn't love that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, there was two doctors, realistically. Fuck the other 20 doctors. They don't matter. Yeah. They're just extras. They're like red suits. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Well, I guess 3 doctors, But
yeah.
Regardless, Nami is dying. They need to get her to a doctor. They work it out that
there's one up the mountain.
There's one up the mountain, and I think Dalton, who's a character we're introduced to, recognizes Vivi.
Kind of.
And like that's how he like knows they're not bad.
Something rings a bell in his mind. It's like, I think I know her. He doesn't make the connection till the very end, though.
Okay. Well, regardless, they accept that they're not evil pirates. Whatever. They find out that there's only one doctor in the entire island, and she's on top of a huge mountain. And like you said earlier, she's not cheap.
Yeah, she's not cheap.
She's not.
And so like. And so Luffy and Sanji decide to carry Nami up the mountain. They're warned about some carnivorous rabbits. They're going up. Yep. The carnivorous rabbits, obviously, like they run into them and they
Giant
start this
rabbit bears. Is what they turned out to be, which I thought was fun.
When they started mentioning carnivorous rabbits, I was like, "Oh boy, this is gonna be
Here we go."
Yeah, but then these Yetis come out. It's like, "Oh, that's pretty dope."
Yeah, they're just giant rabbit bears that can also snowboard.
Yeah,
at one point.
And so, they face off a little bit. Luffy has to withhold himself from fighting them.
Yep.
Because Nami's slung on his back, so every move that he makes could potentially injure her.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's not happy about it, but he does. Sanji takes the reins. The rabbits cause an avalanche,
Yes,
by
which Barry's
jumping
like,
up and down with their rabbit feet very
yeah.
high.
Which we come to find out also buried them. So I wonder like how they planned this out.
Well, it didn't
You
bury
know,
them. They got on the snowboards then.
there we do see some rabbits who like almost died from this because after the and there's like a baby rabbit like mourning over his dead mom, and Luffy like pulls the mom out of the snow.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right, and that's kind of what turns the tide because the rabbits help him later on.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So Luffy saves one of the rabbits.
it's a pretty like a
Gets
last ditch
stuck in
effort
the
for those
avalanche.
rabbits. He does. So now Sanji's out. Luffy's carrying them both.
Yeah.
He has to like climb the vertical surface up the mountain with
Yeah, and it's like
Sanji in his mouth, Nami on his back.
yeah,
and
in his mouth.
Yeah.
And it's a literal 90-degree angle in how he climbs it. We don't think about it. It's a cartoon.
Yeah, right. No big deal.
But he
So
does.
all this is happening, and the witch that they're going to find is
Yes.
actually down at the bottom of the thing.
Which is
so
a fun.
here's-
Yeah, she
Yeah.
had left. So even once they get there, she's not going to be there.
Yes. However, when they get she's up there by the time they're up there anyway.
Right. It worked
So
out. But
doesn't
they make
really
you
matter.
Think, they build the suspense up a little bit. Like
Yeah.
they're climbing the mountain. The witch isn't even there.
Yeah. But they do all this to kind of introduce that she's like, she'll heal you, but she has her price. And that's typically like almost everything you own.
Legitimately.
Yeah. And they introduced this, and I was like, oh, dope. This is sweet.
Yeah.
This is something like she's going to heal Nami, of course, but she's going to ask the Straw Hats for something that they're not going to be able to like give up. And that's going to create like this interesting conflict that doesn't, no.
It didn't happen like that.
It never really comes up.
No, it doesn't. I mean, at one point she says, "I'm gonna like." Well, it kind of does. Nami gives her the key.
It becomes like a 40-second little interaction
Yeah.
between Nami and the witch.
Pretty
And
much.
It never really amounts to
It doesn't
anything.
go anywhere for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that though, because that thought never even crossed my mind.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was really excited to see like a conflict for an arc that wasn't just beat up the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe a part of it was just because I've already seen it.
Yeah, that's
And so that's
probably
why
a
it never
thing.
crossed my mind. But
but having them face like a situation that will force them to grow is what I've been waiting for. And they just teased me with it.
They just teased you.
Teased me.
That's fair.
But
fair.
like, yeah, so then Witch grabs them out of the air as they start to fall because Luffy just can't make it to the top. And I thought that was awesome. Like, finally a situation where they fail. Like, not because I want to see them fail, like, for the spite of it, but because I want them to face challenges that they
can't overcome.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, for sure. For sure. Because, I mean, I get it. The Grand Line was built up like this huge thing, and thus far, they've just breezed through.
Exactly.
There's been a couple of moments that kind of hindered them, but for sure, I feel you on that.
Yeah. This is the moment where it all starts going downhill for me.
Once they reach the top. So
when
whole
Luffy is
backstory-
snatched out. When Luffy is snatched out of the air is when it starts going downhill for me.
Okay, so Luffy gets snatched out of the air. They are on top of the mountain with the witch, who has decided to take care of Nami.
Mm-hmm. And them, really.
And Sanji, yeah, because he has like broken ribs. Sanji's pretty beat up.
Yeah, he's got broken everything.
Yeah.
And Luffy is, pretty cold.
Luffy's cold, yes.
Yeah.
But there was a moment at the top where Luffy faints. So that's when he falls from it, and they save him. But like,
yeah, he regains consciousness for like a couple seconds to tell them like they're my friends.
They're my friends. You need to save them, which I thought was a nice moment.
Yeah, okay. That was good.
I was like, he did all this for them, Yeah. Good job, Luffy. So, I mean, you find out she has a pet reindeer named Chopper. which is where things start getting real interesting, because he's a reindeer that can talk.
So another thing to my list of words that lost meaning to me.
Reindeer?
Nose.
Nose.
Why does
Blue
anyone
nose?
give a shit that he has a blue nose? He was
I-
kicked out of this reindeer pack for having a blue nose. He's like, I can never be your friend. I have a blue nose. Like, clearly, this world has established that the color of your nose doesn't matter.
I will say that the manga didn't focus on the nose as much.
They
The
bring up
manga
nose
focused
so
on the
much.
fact that he was a monster.
Luffy calls him a monster a lot,
Yeah, that
but
makes him
they
sick.
really lean on the nose thing.
The nose thing was only brought up a few times from what I remember. It was more the fact that he was not a human but not a reindeer.
Yeah, it was somewhere in between.
He was stuck in between, and therefore he didn't fit in with the humans and he didn't fit in with the reindeer. And everybody just wanted him to die because both sides thought he was a monster. Which I
Right.
think is a better angle to take than Blue Nose. He had a blue nose even before he ate the fruit. So I don't get the blue nose thing. I mean, I think it's just a parallel to Rudolph. I think that's literally the extent of it.
Yeah.
That's it. He was like, I can't do
mean,
red nose because,
You see a lot of like shots of him like guiding a sleigh across the moon.
Yeah, there's very like Santa references throughout this
Yeah.
arc. The witch doctor, she has a flying sleigh that Chopper sits at the front of, and like Chopper can't fly, but the sleigh
He
can.
can
and he
leap.
just like I guess pretends.
I think he like has a super leap.
He can leap really far, so maybe that's all it is. Maybe
Yeah.
he's just leaping her down.
And then
That
sometimes
makes
he
more
actually just
sense.
runs across a rope and it looks like they're flying.
Oh, there you go. I didn't even put those together. Sometimes those little details get lost in the manga. It's hard to differentiate what's going on with the black and white. I didn't even put that
Right.
together. So there we go. So, Chopper ate the human fruit. He's not a human that ate the reindeer fruit. He's a reindeer that ate the human fruit. Because of course he is. What's your thoughts on Chopper? He's a cute little guy.
What would have happened if a human ate the human fruit?
I assume they just would sink in water.
I'm
That's the only difference. They have just hindered themselves greatly.
I'm getting super sick of fruits. I'm getting just get rid of fruits. Every other person has a superpower. I'm fine with accepting that.
The fruits aren't going anywhere. Just enjoy the fruits for what
I
they
hate the
are.
fruits.
Just-
I hate that like they're all named with like two identical words in front of it, like human fruit, gum fruit, chomp fruit, smoke fruit. I'm getting sick of it, Wade. I'm getting so sick of it. It annoys me, and I don't know. I don't even know what type of like story element they're supposed to like make up. They're
I think just fun powers.
But like we see a lot of people with fun powers that don't have fruits. So
I think
basically where that lands me is we can get rid of fruits and at least a little bit of my annoyance goes away and nothing changes.
But you can't. The fruits are further differentiated from everything else. You couldn't just have Luffy be a gum man without the fruit. You can't just be like, I learned how to turn myself into rubber. Like, that would be even dumber, let's be honest.
If we have a world that just like, sometimes people have superpowers, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, well, that's not the route he took. I mean, the fruits are supposed to be this blend of, like, ridiculous, like, it's kind of a joke. Like, you come across occasional really serious ones. Like, Smoker is kind of a serious one. He's just a man who's also smoke. But, like, Oda knows that what he's making is ridiculous. He knows that a man shooting boogers is stupid, and that's what he likes about it. And he knows that a rubber man being the main character is a dumb premise. I think he wants to prove that he can make it work. That's what my guess is.
That's what my guess is too. I have this like thought in the back of my head, like, how did he come up with this? And I always tend to fall back on like he was probably having a conversation with the guy about what would be the most powerful superpower. And he said, if you were rubber. And the other guy said, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then he started thinking, well, if you're rubber, you can do like rubber bazooka and rubber like other powers. And he just got so fixated on this idea and just it became One Piece.
I could see it. I could see that. Well, I mean, remember he's been making this since 7th grade. I could.
Yeah,
100%,
that's the type of conversation I'd have in 7th grade.
Yeah, I could 100% see that being how it happened. I will say that I remember when I was first starting One Piece, I was like, he's made out of rubber. That's the dumbest thing I've ever freaking heard in my entire life. And I love Luffy. And I will say that he does some creative things with the rubber sometimes. It sounds really stupid. It's like, what can you do being rubber? Well, he shows you. You know, he does some kind of cool things that you wouldn't expect. He also does some really lame things with it. But, you know, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, I hate it when he blows up like a bubble.
Like a
so dumb.
But I like when he, like, wraps his... to build like momentum and stuff.
Yeah, that's
like
cool.
A cool
I like that.
One.
Yeah.
So you take the wins with the losses. Sometimes he blows up like a balloon. Sometimes he makes it a super megaton punch or something.
Well, we're introduced to some pretty dumbass fruits in this one. So
Is there
we
multiple?
got.
Well, yeah, Wapple. His is
and I think his cronies. Oh, his cronies do have fruits.
Do they for sure?
Yeah, I know at least Oxman does.
Oh yeah, Oxman does. Well, that's not that stupid of one.
No, his is pretty cool. I like his. But Wapple can turn into a house.
No, he can eat things and turn into whatever he eats.
That one guy has a static afro.
Yeah, is that a fruit or is that like the paint?
Does it matter?
No. But ever since the paint, my world's been flipped upside down. I just assumed they were all fruits, and now you're telling me that there's this paint, magic paint. The afro didn't seem that fruity. His afro was just staticky.
And the other guy's boogers blow up.
That's more fruity, though. That's like obviously a fruit. He's exploding.
Any superpower, I just assume.
This guy could have just rubbed a balloon on his head, and
just like whenever anybody is just not looking, he's just like.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was what came out. That is totally
one of those like
Oda
little Oda question pages, like, how is his afro always so staticky? Well, young one, actually turns out whenever the camera pans away, he's just constantly refilling his static with balloons.
I could
that he keeps
genuinely see that.
Then the other guy,
he just shoots arrows. What does he do?
The Alice guy, he can light those arrows on fire at will.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And I'm just assuming that because what's the guy, Breton? The ox guy?
Yeah. Dalton,
something like that. Yeah,
that's the one.
I'm assuming because his is a fruit. Theirs is a fruit too, because they were kind of on like the same level under Wapple.
For sure. I'm trying to find out
whether his afro is a fruit or not.
Yeah, I need to know.
Well, I'll wrap up the rest of the arc while you do that.
Well, I went to his page and Control F fruit and nothing came up.
He's just a staticky man.
I think he's just a staticky man.
All right.
Does it say?
Fine. Anyway.
Yeah, keep going.
So, Nami is still resting. She has a couple days left before she's fully recovered, and Hag will let her go.
Neither of them have fruits. Go
on. In the meantime, Wapple, who was the former king of this island, shows back up and wants his castle back, and so they fight. And then there's this huge melodramatic moment where Luffy is like, "You don't know what it means to be a pirate," and then flings him off into death or whatever. Straw Hats win. Little Chomper Boy goes with Straw Hats.
What? You didn't like the moment with Luffy and the flag?
Nah.
Why?
Because like we've talked about this before. Like I feel like this not maybe not the show, but Luffy specifically has this very romanticized and bloated idea of what pirate means. Like to me, when I think of a pirate, I'm thinking of, thievery,
Yes.
Murder, backstabbing, debauchery, like all these terrible things. And to him, pirates mean honor, faith,
Yeah.
belief in yourself, adventure on the open seas.
Kinda. But to him,
He uses those words specifically.
To him,
he uses those words specifically during the speech.
Does he?
He does. He says this flag means having faith or something like that.
Okay, I guess I gotta go back and read it. I always just have associated Luffy thinks pirates are freedom. That's the association. That's like it. I mean, I guess freedom to it in... I don't know, maybe not though. There's definitely an argument to be made there. We don't have to get into it. The problem is that you're once again imparting real world values on a fictional world. Where pirates clearly aren't what you're saying. I mean, some of them are, for sure. You got people like Don Krieg and Wapol to an extent, honestly.
Like, what gives me hope is, and why I'm holding on to this, is because that conversation has happened in World between Nami, I think, and Luffy. Like, you have no idea what real pirates are. And like, characters have tried to tell him, like, this isn't what pirates are.
Well, and that's true. Yeah, so it is like... Yeah, you're not wrong. And then you have, like, they came to town and everybody hated them because they were pirates. People do have a very negative outlook on pirates. So I guess, inevitably, maybe it's just Luffy's stupid. I mean, we know Luffy's stupid.
We know Luffy's stupid.
But, like, and so to him, he has just associated it with these values that aren't necessarily true to everybody else, but are true to him. And true to the people such as, like, Shanks that he looked up to, who is a very noble pirate.
We don't really know anything about him.
True. I mean, but from what we saw...
Luffy probably doesn't even know that much about him, because he just go off on things,
he was
come
there
back.
For like a month.
Yeah.
I don't know. But from what we saw, that's exactly it. Luffy might not have known much about him, but from what Luffy saw, that's what he was.
Yeah, and so I guess for me, like, with that in mind, it takes away from these moments where Luffy is trying to, like, talk down on others for what he thinks a pirate is.
Well, he's just he's saying this is what I believe in. You know.
Yeah, but
so
chances are he's still wrong even in that world. So like sure, have your big speech on top of the castle, like, you're wrong though.
But he doesn't care that he's wrong. All he wants to do is fight for what he believes in. And that's what he's doing. He's fighting for what he believes in. He doesn't care what you think. He's telling you what he thinks. And so in this case, that's all he was doing. He's not just going to be like, you're right. Pirates are mean. Like, he's going to fight for what he believes a pirate is, because that's all that he knows.
My solution to this would have been, don't have that interaction. And if you really want a rousing speech at the top of the castle, don't make it about what it means to be a pirate. Make it about, like, anti-tyranny or something.
I mean,
then you'd have to go back and change, like, what his whole tyranny strategy is, which I'd still be okay with, because I think it's dumb. In fact, get rid of him altogether from the arc. The arc doesn't need him.
I mean, wait, are you talking about Wapol?
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep calling him Wapol. Yeah, I mean, it's basically anti-tyranny. Really, what Luffy does is he judges people based on their character, and that's it. If he feels like they are a good person, he has no issues with them. But if he feels like they are a bad person, he takes a lot of issue with it. And in this case, obviously, Rapol's a pretty shit fucking guy. And
he annoyed me so much. He's another one of those characters that just yells all the time and turns into houses.
He's a bad villain. He turns into houses. He eats guns and like metal and then turns into them. And then, what did you think about the fusion? I loved it.
So
I legit laughed out loud. There was a few moments that I don't remember laughing much when I was watching the anime, but the manga panels really crack me up sometimes.
So when I was preparing for this episode, I was thinking like, how am I going to present my thoughts on on this?
On the fusion specifically?
Not necessarily the fusion, but that whole battle sequence.
Okay, yeah.
And I landed on something along the lines of this. I really enjoyed the arc up until halfway through, or at least up until the point where heads start to clash, and thus starts probably about the stupidest hour of television I've ever seen.
And that's the fight.
That's the fight.
So
I can take everything else. The
some
fight
key
was
moments. We had the fusion.
I lost brain cells during this fight.
I mean, I get it. It's definitely not the best fight in the world. It was meant to be played up for being stupid as well.
And then there's this one moment where Chopper like holds up his hands in his hooves.
Yep.
And you see like this reticle like zoom across screen until it centers in between the hooves.
He's finding the weak point.
God damn, that was stupid.
That's one of his powers.
Why can't his power just be like different, like the spectrum of in between badass reindeer and badass human, Instead, he's got to have seven.
This was one that wasn't.
He has 7 distinct transformations.
Yeah.
Which is a science set in place by the world, because he pulls off 3 transformations, and then the house is like, or not the house, but the fusion guy is like, now I've seen all your transformations. You can only have 3 after all.
Yeah.
And then Wapple's like, no, I have 7.
What?
And
Wapple said, you mean Chopper?
Yeah, Chopper. Chopper says,
well,
no,
the only
I
reason
have
he had
7
was because of the little thing he ate.
What I'm saying is,
it wasn't like
why does there need to be a number? Why can't he just have transformations? Is the spectrum between little reindeer and big bad man be? And then just whatever in between. I don't care.
He's just setting down rules. So the rule is for the zone type, expect to see 3 transformations.
Why does there have to be rules, man? Why does there have to be rules?
Because otherwise you could just do whatever you wanted. I kind of like the rules. Otherwise he could just be like, I'll just make him a werewolf. That's close enough. But like, at least he's limiting himself. So every time we come across this zone type, which was introduced, is one of the devil fruit, where people can turn into animals, or animals into people, there will be 3 transformations that you see.
I just don't think that's necessary. Like, I think it'd be cooler if, like, whenever we come across these zone type people, like, all right, so this person's like half man, half shark.
Like Arlong. But he's not a fruit. Oh yeah, like you.
All right, like cool. He can, like, he's gonna have like powers ranging anywhere between being just a full blown shark to being like this awesome, like, what are those, like street sharks? Remember those from the 90s?
The battle sharks. Sharks. I did love battle sharks.
I don't need yeah, me too. I don't need them to have like
battle sharks.
Right? I don't need there to be like distinct rules, like, okay, he only has 3 transformations. If he does anything else, my mind's supposed to be blown. I want them to blow my mind with the creative shit they do within the spectrum.
I get it. Yeah, you can't do whatever you want. There's a spectrum there. So I get it. But I mean, you can kind of do it within the 3, I guess. Every time we come across them, you don't know what they're going to turn into, but you know that there'll be 3.
And then that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's fair. That's fair. I get it. I get it.
Maybe,
and it would line up
I
because
can just boil it down to, like, it's a pet peeve that anime always puts down these rules.
Yeah.
And it's like, just be creative with it, dog.
I get it. As long as you don't throw something out of left field. I like rules in that you're setting yourself to a standard, but I don't like it when rules are broken. But like you said, it's a spectrum. So a shark can't become a werewolf.
Right.
That's not
That
how
would be
works.
weird.
That would
Yeah.
be weird and stupid and break the rule. There is a rule with the spectrum. It's just not as laid out. It's not as
exactly.
Yeah. You still haven't told me what you think of the fusion.
Oh yeah, that contributed a lot to the stupidness of it all.
Yeah.
But that was so dumb, and I hated every moment of looking at him.
I laughed so hard when they just came out strapped together. That was it. They just had belts around them. They didn't fuse at all. See, I liked it because I like One Piece that it's like not afraid to make fun of itself and make fun of kind of anime. That's what it was doing. A trope is that they fuse together and become super awesome, like, you know what I mean? And so it was like, we'll just put a belt around them. They didn't fuse at all. They're just going to pretend like they fused. But they're really just two guys stacked on top of each other. I thought it was funny. I like that. If it was serious all the time, then the serious moments wouldn't be as great.
If we can say that was truly satire,
it was 100% satire.
I'll accept it then. It was still really dumb, and I hated it, but I'll accept it as satire.
It was definitely satire. What else would it be?
I don't know. I don't watch anime.
He wasn't trying to be badass. He was
I'm just a guy watching a show, judging what's in front of me.
All right, that's fair. It doesn't go any deeper than that. You see it, you like it, or you hate it.
Exactly.
It was
I'm a
totally
simple
satire.
man.
It was a lot of One Piece is satire.
I'm trusting you.
It's like a comedic anime in a way.
If somewhere out there back in 1999, Oda was drawing this guy thinking, "Oh, this guy's badass."
He definitely wasn't doing that.
I'm ending you.
All right. We've rambled on about, I agree, the end fight. I have mixed signals about it. Because I didn't love the fight, but that's because I like serious fights. But I understand what he's trying to do. If every fight was just a super serious fight, it would get really dull. Really quick. And so, like, he likes to throw curveballs at you. Like, and he likes to, like, put limits. Like, Sanji couldn't fight this fight because he was still wounded. He likes to do limits like that. And, like, all of Zoro's fights, he's, like, wounded in one way or another. You never get to see him, like, at full power. There's always something, and I enjoy that.
Zoro really didn't fight in this one, did he?
No, he beat the crap out of the town. Or, like, Wapol's men.
Oh,
he
right,
got cold.
right. Yeah. And he wanted the coat.
Yeah, and he wanted the coat, so he killed them all.
Yeah.
Once again, Zoro just being a total badass and having no issue taking down whatever's in front of him. Zoro's very powerful. He's very strong. He has yet to, other than Mihawk, he has yet to have a single challenging fight.
And he can swim.
And he can swim. See? Exactly. But we should probably get into the backstory.
Little Chomp Chomp.
Little Chomp Chomp's backstory. 6 years ago, Little Chopper ate the devil fruit, the human fruit.
He was ostracized by his herd.
He was ostracized. Exactly.
He was then ostracized by people
who wanted. It was a very Frankenstein's monster situation. That's the vibe I got from it.
Yeah, for sure.
And they were like trying to shoot him and wanted him to die because he's a monster. That's literally
right.
It. They thought he was like an abominable snowman. They were scared, you know.
Yeah.
But what did you think of? Oh, what is his name? I gotta find Dr. Humalik.
Himaluk.
I
think. That sounds right.
I can probably find out. Hiraluk.
All right. On the list of words that lost meaning, quack.
Quack. They said, the 2 episodes I watched, they said quack. They didn't say it in the manga, for the record. But the 2 episodes I watched, I was like, why do they have to say quack so much?
They said it so much.
I need a quack counter on here.
Yeah, right. I was thinking about it, like, I need to start writing this down.
Quack doctor. Yeah, what'd you think of him?
Of him or the
fellow? Him specifically, as a character.
So, Yeah, intriguing is a good word. I feel like he could have been really cool if they made some like minor tweaks here and there.
Mhm.
He was super gun ho about like medical science and being a doctor and all this. Like we talked about that.
Mhm.
I think it would have been more interesting if he was a little bit more on the like snake oil salesman type alternative medicine kind of guy.
Instead of like breaking into people's houses and forcing them to take his medicine, he
Yeah,
more just was like a sleazy businessman kind of.
yeah, and he still was set, not necessarily businessman. He would still be set out to like help people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but in his own way, like he pushes this idea of like medical science
Yeah,
like constantly. That's in his like his rhetoric a lot is
yeah,
medical science.
for sure.
But then you see him like inject a syringe into a coughing man and he turns into a frog.
Yes. Well,
So
I think once again the joke has flown over your head.
well, no, I think I get the joke. It's just like I felt like I don't know. Like explain it to me.
Well, I mean, he's not a good doctor. That's the joke. Well, I mean, in a way, a lot of what he kind of treads the line between like good and evil in a way, because like he does mean well and he does want what's good for the world, but he's like to the point where it's a huge flaw and he's hurting
Yeah.
people and he doesn't really care because he injected that dude with the frog whatever, which turned him into a frog man. He thought it was gonna help him.
Yeah, I guess where my issue lies is that he's constantly using words like doctor, medical science, and like all that, when obviously like he's not at
Yeah,
all.
for sure. But then I feel like if he was alone, it would have been more of an issue to me. But whenever they compared him to the actual witch doctor, it was obvious he had no clue what he was doing compared to her. Like he would go to her for medical advice, and it's like, well, you're the doctor, and so he was gung ho on finding the one thing, which was the cherry blossoms.
Yeah, he was
That
super
was his
into this
magnum
idea that
opus.
cherry blossoms would cure the world.
Yes, exactly. And that was from what I
30
could
years
tell,
of research
all he
into
cared.
cherry blossoms.
Exactly, and he got there, kind of.
He did.
Ish.
No, he got there.
It's like smoke.
He figured it out. He
It's
figured
more
out
like
the cherry
this
blossom
big
smoke.
cloud, really. That fell in a certain way that looked kind of like a cherry blossom.
He made the oil for his jewel, and they just turned it into cherry blossoms.
Yeah. So, he essentially sees Chopper lying on the ground, dying because he's been shot up, and being the good doctor he is, wants to help him.
Yep.
And he does. This was an interesting point, though, because this was one point. Like, he is, like, quack doctor, but in this one moment with Chopper, he actually did know what he was doing and did, like, bring him back to recovery. So he gets lucky every once in a while, you know? Even a broken clock's right twice a day kind of thing. Chopper thinks he's gonna hurt him because Chopper's scared and beats the crap out of him, in which Himalok shows him that he's not by unclothing himself.
Yeah, and hanging everything.
And hanging everything from his
dome.
boner. At that
Yeah.
point, you don't not. You gotta. Why he had one is up for debate, but
That's how much he loves medicine, dog.
that. What did you think about that? Did this point confuse you? Because it confused me a little bit.
Yeah.
The 1 minute he's on the ground bleeding, the next minute he's butt naked, standing there telling Chopper that he's not gonna hurt him.
That like when was the last time you saw a old naked man screaming at you that he wasn't a threat and believed him?
The only thing I could really come to the conclusion was that Chopper being an animal It was kind of animalistic to get like butt naked and also put him in a very like vulnerable position. So like in that way, maybe he was trying to show Chopper that he wasn't a threat by putting himself in the most vulnerable position he could think of.
Maybe there were a couple of uncomfortable moments in this arc.
There were some weird ones.
Did you get the moment where like Sanji was coming out of the snow, and like I think it was definitely towards the end, I think Nami was pulling Sanji out of the snow, and he was like, "I'm so cold. The only thing that will warm me are your two billowy." And then camera zooms in on Nami's breasts, and then Nami smacks Sanji into the ground.
That did not happen at all.
I was forced to watch that.
That doesn't surprise me. What do you think about it?
I was uncomfortable.
Well, I'm sure it goes away, and you won't have to deal with it ever again.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sanji's a gentleman.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I didn't have that one.
I'm jealous.
I can't think of any other uncomfortable ones. It was just that.
Yeah.
It was just that. What did you think of? So Chopper lives with the doctor Hiraluk.
Yeah.
For like a year till he's fully recovered, and then Hiraluk tells him to go away, and starts like shooting at Chopper to make him go away.
I mean, I kind of figured, like when this starts happening, like first thought in my head is like he's protecting Chopper from something.
Right. Which I think is exactly what Oda wants you to think. He obviously that there's like something else going on behind the scenes. You just don't know what it is.
Yeah, it turns out he's dying and he doesn't want Chopper to see him die.
Yeah. I agree. It kind of fell flat. Sometimes I really like these moments when the reveal happens and I like agree with it. I can really enjoy it and be like when it's kind of more humanizing and you're like I see why he did that. But to me it feels like distancing your best friend by making them think you're a horrible human being so that they don't have to watch you die is worse than just watching you die.
Yeah. Because eventually
that's
they're gonna
worse on Chopper's mentality than just watching him die.
His already fragile mentality.
Yeah, the one person who ever like loved him in any way.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because Chopper finds out, or Chopper like eavesdrops while Hiraluk is talking with old lady witch, and then the very next scene for me was Chopper and Hiraluk walking down the street together, where they both overhear some guards talking about this special mushroom that heals anything.
Oh.
And so like when did that like makeup happen? Because they're both just buddy again walking down the street.
That must have supposedly have been a flashback within the flashback. In the manga it happened earlier.
Okay. Because
it happened really before they had their falling out. They overheard the guards.
Okay.
So that's really weird though that they did it in that order.
Yeah.
But yeah, it happened before. And so I'm assuming that was supposed to just be a flashback of the flashback.
They did not make that clear.
No, that's fair.
So Chopper goes out to find the mushroom, comes back all beaten because he ran into troubles, but he has the mushroom.
Other reindeer.
Yeah, the other reindeer.
They didn't like him being back, and so he fought him for the mushroom.
Yeah, and he came back pretty battered.
He got beat up pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah.
But he won.
He won the mushroom. And turns out the mushroom's poison.
But they don't know that yet. Chopper thinks it's the mushroom that cures like all sorts of crazy diseases, which I guess in a way it does.
Yeah. Disease definitely goes away.
Yes. So he makes like a soup for Hiraluk and tells him to drink it and says it'll make your... Did we mention that Hiraluk's dying? Did we?
Yes.
We did?
Yes.
He's dying of I don't know, like cancer or something.
Whatever.
Something. He has like a week or two to live or something.
He's dying of die in 10 days disease.
Yes, the die in 10 days disease. And so he drinks up Chopper's soup, knowing full well that it's poison.
Yeah.
And then he marches off to save all the doctors
who have just been taken captive.
Which have been...
Not captive, but like...
They supposedly have a like disease that's going to kill them all, and then if all the doctors die, the town's going to die. So he's going to save them, but it was just a trap.
Yeah.
Because Paul wants him dead.
And he's relieved because now he has this nitroglycerin shot.
Which was interesting. I didn't look at that either.
And so he's like, oh yeah, don't worry, Chopper, your thing's not going to kill me. He drinks the nitroglycerin and blows up.
Yeah, he explodes in a very huge explosion. Which leaves Chopper distraught. Chopper was going to save him, I guess, or see him.
Yeah, Chopper found out at the last minute that it's poison because someone, like the witch, pointed out, like, you see that skull next to this mushroom? That
I didn't
that
love
means
it.
deadly. Yeah,
I'll admit I didn't love this whole plot point. Because you had Hiruluk, who idolized basically the pirate flag. Yeah. And so Chopper, I get it though. At the same time, Chopper's like basically doesn't understand anything about human society at all.
Yeah.
And so Hiruluk builds this like skull and crossbones up to be a really good thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a sign of freedom. It's a sign of whatever. And so Chopper thinks it's a good thing. And so when he sees it in the book and also he overheard the guards talking about the mushroom, he assumes it means, like, it's gonna cure you.
It doesn't. Yeah, he assumes it doesn't mean that it's poison.
Yeah, he assumes it doesn't mean it's going to kill you in an hour. But there's kind of a lot of layers to all this at the same time.
Yeah, so this kind of brings me on to, I think, what is my maybe last complaint about this arc.
All right.
There is a lot of, like, shit going on.
Yeah.
And a lot of it ultimately doesn't come to anything. Example being the witch's price for healing.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like if we just boiled it down to a conflict between the Straw Hats dealing with this witch asking for something impossible from them, I think that would have made out to be a really cool and interesting arc. Yeah. But instead, they inject you with, like, all this, like, Chopper's backstory with layers within that. Also, like, there's Wapol with, like, this history being the king and, like, trying to get all that back. Yep. Then you have Dalton, who used to work for Wapol, and now he's trying to make amends with his own guilt for, you know, and, like, trying to lead and all this. And you have different towns, and it's just a lot going on.
It is. It's a lot to keep up with. Hey,
and then towards the end they start dipping in what I'm assuming will lead into the next arc with the world government and Alabasta and all that.
What are you referring to specifically when you say that?
Like Alabasta and the world government?
Yeah. Like what moment?
Yeah. So it's when I'm assuming they're just building up for the next arc. They're talking about, like, the foundations of the Civil War, which I had already assumed was going on, but it turns out it's just like it's Tinder waiting for a spark, right?
Yeah, like it's climax almost. Like,
yeah,
things are gonna go bad real quick any day now.
Yeah, and it's Crocodile, like, turning the citizens against the king for what, like, not doing anything against pirates or something. Is that right, or is there something else? No, I think that's it, because Alabasta is being plagued by pirates. Crocodile is helping get rid of the pirates. Yes, so he's helping to get rid of the pirates. Yeah, I don't think the citizens know that he's a warlord.
Well, I don't know if they do or not, but the job of the Seven Warlords is they're basically pirates that are paid by the government to fight pirates.
Right.
So he's there. So fighting pirates is probably why he's there to begin with.
Yeah, but then he's also trying to assume, like, dominance over the kingdom.
Right. So he's trying to control it. Yeah.
Pirate. Otherwise, they'd be like, dude, you're kind of fucked up.
For sure.
You know?
Well, and they can't know. I think, because he's exactly. Like he keeps himself so secret in the shadows.
Yeah. So I think the citizens just see him as, like, here's this guy who's doing something against pirates that the king's not doing.
Yeah.
So he's like inciting this kind of like rebellion, why isn't the king doing anything about pirates?
I don't know. We'll have to see if they cover it in Alabasta.
All right, cool.
I legit don't. I'm not just saying. I don't remember.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've watched Alabasta.
Fair.
So, yeah, we'll see if they cover that when we get into it, I guess.
Yep. So, then yeah. So this world government.
Yeah, the world government. I thought it's an interesting thing they bring up, especially because we kind of touched on it a couple episodes ago. I believe it was in the Whiskey Peak when we were talking about Whiskey Peak. We got into kind of these government factions, and you said something along the lines of you liked that you were surprised that the islands in the Grand Line have like different societies essentially within them, and that they all seem to be regulating separate from one another. Which is clearly the case with certain ones, at least. I mean, specifically Little Garden, obviously, it has whatever this world government is has no control over that. But here we are introduced to a world government, and we're told that certain islands are within it, and that so there is this higher government that you had mentioned. I don't know if you mentioned that you didn't want it to exist. I guess I want to know what your thoughts are that there is this higher government all of a sudden happening.
So whenever they spoke about this world government, and did flashbacks to it, it struck me as kind of like this United Nations type deal, where you have all these separate kingdoms and they're just coming together for the interest of like being at peace with everyone.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with.
Right.
What I'm curious about is how its dynamics with the government outside of the Grand Line. Because it really shouldn't have anything to do with it, right? Because there's only one way into the Grand Line. You can't really get out easily, at least. There's a giant whale blocking your way.
There is.
This is something I thought about. Whoever wants to enter the Grand Line has to deal with that whale.
I know, every one of them has to deal with that whale. Because no matter what sea you come from, that's where you end up. So.
Exactly. So, I guess I'm just curious how I keep saying world government, but really it's just like this Grand Line, like United Nations, right?
Well, I don't fully know. I can tell you that the world government, like, I assume the world government is outside on all the blues as well, because the military is kind of like the world government kind of controls the military. I don't know if that's been pointed out yet or not, so sorry if it's a spoiler. But come on, it's not that bad. Obviously, the world government controls the military to some extent. I
guess
and so since the military is out there, I think it's more like you have the world government, and then you have the military layer beneath it that's regulating everything a little bit more granularly.
So is there a government outside of the Grand Line that is part of the world government, but not, so like the Grand Line has all these like separate kingdoms, Is there like this greater kingdom of like the East, West, South, and North Blue or whatever?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. The resident expert One Piece dig man. let us know. I don't really know how the blues work in terms of that.
Is there? Yeah. I don't know.
So, I mean, all the islands seemed pretty separated from the world government when we were in the East Blue. I'll say that. Like Usopp's, I'm trying to think, like Usopp's island didn't seem at all integrated with it.
Right, but they were still under the jurisdiction of like the Navy and all that.
Right, so I think that is where it comes in.
Yeah, so while the islands are, their own separate villages and all that, they could still all be one nation.
Yeah.
Whereas within the Grand Line, all these people seem to be pretty like independent of each other.
Yeah, it's a lot more independent for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how the semantics go on that one.
Yeah. But I will give it this. I feel like this is a more organic way to world build
Okay.
because we're being introduced to it like pockets at a time where we're
Mhm.
developing our own questions that we're interested and curious about.
Mhm.
And it's not just like a 3-minute info dump of like, okay, here's the world government, and here's like a line
Right.
that charts each individual island. This island does this island does that, and like such and such.
Yeah. He's throwing little notes at you, flicking them your way like little footballs in middle school.
Yeah, when it's relevant.
When it's relevant, for sure. And it it asks a bunch of questions, and luckily for us, I'm too stupid to remember the answers anyway. So, spoilers or not, I can't tell you. But yeah, so it'll be fun. They talk about the Reverie, which
Do they?
yes,
What's
at
the
least in the
Reverie?
manga, it was a backstory from Dalton when he first met Vivi. They talk about. There's a couple things we need to get to before we get to fan questions that I wanna hit. They talk about the Reverie, which is apparently occasionally everybody meets. Because all the kings were in a room together, and Vivi was like, because Wapol was there, and you also got to see the king of Alabasta in like a room trying to make
Cobra
this peace.
something.
Very UN, like you were saying. They were all
Yeah.
there, and Vivi showing that she's more mature than Wapol, which I thought was a fun little dynamic because she was like 8 years old or something
Yeah.
like that. And it was nice that it got brought back. Dalton liked what he saw, and that's why all this kind of was able to happen. It was fine.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about it because there's not really anything to talk about. I just wanted to mention. I mean, do you have anything you want to talk about in that moment, or has everything?
No. I thought that was pretty interesting. Like I said, I'm interested to see how this whole world is structured. I guess.
For sure. Blackbeard.
Yeah, that's a name that kept coming up. I
gets
don't
name
remember.
dropped.
Yeah, I don't remember what they were saying about Blackbeard.
Blackbeard, a few months ago, came to the Drum Island or Drum Kingdom, whatever, and forced Wapol out, essentially. And then Wapol
And
left.
Blackbeard's a pirate, right?
Blackbeard is a pirate, and he very easily forced Wapol out, which isn't saying much because Wapol was a,
Pushover.
Yeah, exactly. And then Wapol took all the doctors with him, which is when all this kind of started. But Blackbeard was kind of the catalyst of that moment in how Wapol got out to sea. So you get a name drop on Blackbeard. What's your thoughts on? You excited to see more about Blackbeard?
I'm sure we will.
Piratey name.
It is. I wonder if they'll live up to it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And then, does the word ace mean anything to you?
Yeah, they showed. God, this was such a dumb moment. It was one of the last moments of the show, the last moments of the arc.
Okay.
And
Yep.
Straw Hats left. They set sail. Day goes by, maybe, and just like this no-named red shirt soldier runs up to Dalton and is like, "I completely forgot. Check this out," and shows him the the wanted poster. "We got approached by a guy named Ace, telling him to give this guy a message. Slipped my mind." And then it goes into the flashback of Ace telling the guy, like, if you see this guy, tell him to meet me in 10 days at Alabasta.
Yep.
And that's basically it.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was kind of out of the blue. It was kind of like hamstrung in there for sure. It happened in the same way in the manga, too. He just runs up to Dalton and is like, we forgot to tell him.
What a stupid thing.
But regardless of how it was brought up, it's an interesting new little mechanic.
Yes.
Who do you think this Ace fellow is? What's your prediction for this Ace man?
Who is Ace? My prediction for who is Ace. I'm assuming a friend of the red-haired guy, Red Shanks.
You're gonna assume he's like a friend or like
An associate.
An
an associate. Like they're linked in some way, and I don't know, something there. I think that's where the thread is gonna be.
with. Wait, say that one more time.
I think the I I think Ace, his association with Luffy and why he wants to meet is going to be stemmed from an association that they both have with Red Shanks.
Wait, with Shanks. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Speaking of predictions, I had a busy day today. I wanted to prepare this, and I wanted to actually show it, but I'm not going to get to. Last week I said, "What is your prediction for Drum Island?" Do you remember this?
I do remember you asking. I don't remember what I said.
You said, "I predict that the Straw Hats are going to find a fluffy object that, like something, I don't remember the exact, but it was like a fluffy object that they get to keep or some shit." And my response was, "What do you know?" So explain yourself. What do you know?
I know nothing, man.
I was like, does he actually know what happens? Because I know with your response.
I'll tell you this.
Oh, yep.
I tell you this. I remember having a conversation with you at some point in the past, like 3 years, about how dumb One Piece is. And you told me about some guy with like a noodle fruit.
A noodle fruit?
Yeah, he turned himself into a noodle.
Yeah, I remember that.
That is all I know about the future of One Piece.
That's the only thing you remember.
That's the only thing I remember.
I wanted to have a
no
conversation
idea.
with you about this because I remember that day. It was at Yumacon, and I was trying to convince you to watch One Piece, and I didn't ever expect this podcast to happen. So I didn't really care about spoilies, and I figured you were never actually going to watch it, so I was more just venting. But I was like, man, how much of this does he actually remember? And, like, is it going to ruin it for him? Because I went over a lot of moments. Rest assured, everybody, the only thing he remembers is a man who had the noodle fruit, presumably.
That there's something about the ridiculousness, absurdity, and how much that pisses me off that really ingrained that into my head.
That's the only thing you remember, huh?
That's the only thing I remember. When you asked me what I expected for this, and I said something fluffy,
yeah,
I was bullshitting.
I know you were. At first I really was worried that you had like read something or got spoiled somehow. But then when you had your actual response, I knew you weren't lying and that you were just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what happened.
What was my actual response?
What? That was your actual response.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Was that they're gonna find something like a fluffy object or something, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? I will say, there are no more spoilers to be had up until now. Earlier, way earlier, remember when we watched the One Piece rap?
Yes.
Chopper gets name dropped in that rap.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that was stuck in the back of your head somewhere. I figured you didn't really care. But yeah, at one point they go, Sanji's cooking, Chopper's doctoring. And it shows Chopper.
Okay.
And so, I guess that this must have been the last arc that that song made it up to. Who knows?
Yeah.
So what? I have our resident One Piece expert, Digman, also known, actually, now we got a new name for him, Oswald Octopus.
So that is what he's gonna go by.
He's Oswald Octopus's Octopus Corner.
All right.
He sent me his fan video.
All right,
as he does.
Oswald.
Whoa! The tide is rising, everybody. N3IAS. I don't know how the hell to say that, man, but I absolutely appreciate.
Sounded like an explosion.
That was it was supposed to be a wave crashing because I'm a penguin.
I got that.
That This is history, my friend. You are the very first person to ever follow whilst we've done the Onesie Piece podcast.
Right on,
History has been made here today, folks. Welcome. We're gonna get into
good to have you. Nice to have you aboard.
Oh no, did I say we were on Minecraft? Oh shit. I changed the title, but I forgot to change the game.
Damn it, Wade.
Why did you follow us when I put it on?
Maybe he likes what we have to say.
Maybe he came for Minecraft but stayed for One Piece. I don't know where the videos are. That's the whole point I'm trying to make here. And Dig actually doesn't appear to be in chat, nor is he responding to anything. That I ask him. He usually sends it to me on Discord. Oh no. Is my monitor getting burnt? Oh my god.
Is it?
Yeah. I gotta turn this thing off.
Uh-oh.
Wow. I gotta make sure. Oh my god, yeah it is. That's crazy. I got words on my monitor background and they're burning into it. Because I just leave it on all the time. Mistakes have been made. It's very unnoticeable right now. I can't leave them up any longer. So I can. Unfortunately, he did send me the questions through text, so we're just gonna do that.
All right, fine.
Sorry, Dig, if you see this, it is what it is. He was not convinced we were gonna get through this arc in one stream, so to you I say, aloo hezer. I am glad we tested it, and we are making good on time. We got 10 minutes left.
Bring it. Shoot me a question.
Yes, I got your question. Anybody in chat got a question for the One Piece man himself? Okay, here it is. This is more. He said this wasn't exact wording, but close enough. Before dying, Hiriluk gives an impassionate speech about how a person never truly dies unless they're completely forgotten, and vows that his legacy will live on. By giving his final speech, Roger ensured that the world would never forget him, and the generation of piracy he inspired will inspire future generations seeking the One Piece. How do you feel about fantasy worlds that have been thoroughly lived in and the heydays of legends being long gone? And do you think One Piece establishes this scenario well?
That's a pretty interesting question.
It's a long one.
Yeah. So it's probably no secret that one of my all-time favorite pieces of storytelling is Lord of the Rings. And in that world, we're very much living in a fantasy setting that the heyday is long gone. In many ways, the Lord of the Rings is kind of like an end of the world tale. Mm-hmm. It's the end of the livable world for the elves. They're trying to depart, and for men we have this onslaught of evil who is on the verge of victory. Mm-hmm. We're living in a world that's just full of legends, and we see that with the extended universe that Tolkien and his son Christopher have been able to put out. Rest in peace to both of them. So that's a world that's built on legends and myths. So needless to say, I love that shit.
Yeah. You love legends.
I love legends. I'm a fan of
establish that at all though.
I feel like it's made attempts to try, and this gives credit to your timeline that you've been putting together.
Yeah.
We see that the story didn't technically begin with episode 1. There have been events that are significant to what they've seen happening years and years prior. Mm. We've seen a lot of events years prior, but really the only significant one is Gold D. Rogers' execution and his One Piece thing.
But what about Orangetown being founded?
You're right.
It's a little higher on the list than Gold Roger.
You're right. So I'm all on board if One Piece starts implementing more of these elements of significant things in the past
Hmm.
that their butterfly effects have significant impact on the Straw Hat crew.
So, but as of right now, we haven't really seen that.
We haven't really seen that much. I'm on board for it. You know, keep throwing stuff at the wall. Eventually, something's gonna stick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is I think what we're gonna end up seeing as the show goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, why not?
So are you optimistic, or I can't tell, or are you not really expecting much?
Kind of like this, kind of both, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see it happen. Will we see it happen? Maybe not. I'm not going to hold my breath or stress too much about it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But if it does happen, you'd be.
If it does happen, I'll be happy.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just have to watch and find out.
One last tidbit about this. There's this mini series that came out in the early 2000s called Into the West, put out by Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably one of the coolest westerns I've ever seen. I really love it. It's got kind of like mixed reviews, but it's about like this legacy of people who set out into like Western US, like back in the 1800s, and it follows like their legacy exactly, like the guy who set out, his children, his grandchildren, and it's like throughout the miniseries, it just follows
Is
that.
it based on real people?
I don't think so, but it's
Okay.
kind of like the Forrest Gump of the Old West,
Okay.
where you see all these significant moments in history happen through the eyes of this family.
Okay.
So it's really cool. I just wanted to throw that out there. It got me thinking about it.
That's a wreck. You got a wreck for you there.
Yeah.
All right. I have more fan questions. Do you want to hear them?
Yeah. We got time, right?
Before we get into fan questions, actually, you know what? Digger's got it covered in his Big Digs fan questions of the week. So I'll just start with that because I was going to bring it up. According to Kuriha, that's the witch doctor. Do you know how to say her name? I'm always reading them, so I never.
Kuriha is as close as I can get.
Kuriha, Gold Roger used to be called Gold D. Roger.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? And she talks about the will of D. What does that mean?
Okay, yeah, this bugged me. So I'm sick of this. Has happened a couple times before. This is just the latest instance of it happening, of Luffy being singled out as kind of like this chosen one trope, where like the spirit of the only one who's made it to the end of the Grand Line, Goldie Rogers, somehow, you know, we're seeing that spirit kindled once again in this man-child. This stupid little idiot.
They've made a lot of parallels with Gold Roger and Luffy.
The only thing that they see is this spirit that they see in him, because otherwise I have a hard time believing that Gold Roger was this, you know, like adventure first, I don't think about anything, just have fun kind of guy. I think the reason he was caught and executed was because he was a badass pirate. But we don't know, I guess. But
we don't know. We don't know much about Gold Roger at all.
No. I like to believe that he was a cool pirate, not a Luffy pirate.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. But what do you... So you basically just take it as yet again another parallel. Gold D. Roger, Monkey D. Luffy. It's this middle initial is somehow making Luffy to be the chosen one and be the next Gold D. Roger.
Yeah, it's a I think it's going to be a chosen one trope, and I think that's dumb.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Wapple mentions that he was frightened off Drum Island by the Blackbeard pirates. We kind of already talked about this. Who do you think these characters are, and what do you think their connection with real-life Blackbeard might be? You think they're going to be real-life Blackbeard?
Nah, not a chance. I think there's just going to be another obstacle that Luffy will punch his way out of.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
I hesitate to use the word obstacle. There's just going to be another bump in the road that he'll punch his way out of.
You think Luffy... So you think for the next 900 some odd episodes, whatever we're at, do you think Luffy and gang are going to have any struggles whatsoever? Or do you think there's going to be a guy who's kind of tough, and then they just get through it by punching anyway?
It's just gonna be series after series of these artificial struggles where it looks like they're about to lose this fight, but then Gum Gum Rocket to the face and
the whole way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Do you think Vivi's leadership skills will rub off on Luffy at all?
No.
No? Straight no. Not a chance.
No. If Vivi stays with the crew after Alabasta, then it's just going to be a lot more of Luffy doing something dumb and Vivi saying, quit doing that.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. That's it. Wait, say that one more time?
If Vivi stays with the crew after Alabasta, then it's just going to be a bunch of Luffy doing dumb shit and Vivi saying, stop doing that.
That might be the sign of a good captain, though. You know what they say, fill in your weaknesses surround yourself with people who fill in your weaknesses.
Yep. That's the best captain you can ask for.
I mean, it kind of is.
Luffy is the best captain there is.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I'm glad you're finally realizing.
Yep.
I gotta be honest. We're getting better at this. Before in the beginning, we would talk about Big Dig's fan questions, which are all great, by the way, Dig, if you're listening. I love them. But there would be so many things that he would talk about that we didn't cover. We've covered all of these, which makes me happy. We're getting better at this.
Yeah.
We're 12 episodes in, and we're getting better at this.
Yeah. We're only going to go up.
In this arc, we are introduced to a new type of devil fruit, the shape-shifting zone type. Dalton is able to transform into an ox, and Chopper is able to transform into a human. What type of animal would you turn into if you had a zone devil fruit? Again, we kind of covered it in a way, though.
I'd like to be an otter. I think otters are really cool. I love otters.
Why didn't we get you an otter costume? Why didn't that cross our minds? That's still a sea mammal.
That's true.
I mean, I like the shark.
I like the shark. I really like
the shark and the penguin.
Yeah,
I feel like a good one to
put
on the list if we get any more in the future,
Yeah, expand the Waddle cinematic universe.
Yeah, we got penguin, we got shark, we got octopus. Anything could happen, guys.
Anything could happen. Anything can happen in the water.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about all these. Sorry, Dick, we covered them all. A couple of timeline moments. 6 years ago, we had the Reverie, which we already talked about. And I think it was 6 years ago maybe it was 8 years ago was the Reverie. 6 years ago was the Chopper backstory. So that's what was happening on Drum Island 6 years ago. And there was a couple others that who cares? I'll show the timeline one of these days. I'm still working on it. Also, I just want to throw it out there. As we go through the series, I add the characters to the timeline, obviously, along with their birthdays. Up until now, kind of now. It's kind of been a bit, but not really. Neither of our birthdays had been hit.
Neither?
Neither. But now, one of ours has.
One of ours has been hit?
Yeah.
Who has a One Piece birthday?
I do.
Ah!
And guess who it is?
Is it Korea?
Korea, the witch?
Yeah.
No.
Is it the reindeer?
It's not Chopper. I think Chopper's birthday is Christmas Eve. Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Uh-oh. This is a bad face. Oh, God. No! Oh, no! Oh, please come back! Am I still streaming? Is everybody seeing this? Oh, shit. Ben Northern Lights, help me! Is this happening to everybody else as well? Oh, he's disgusting. Oh, he's absolutely disgusting. Well, folks, it looks like this is how we gonna end it today. He's gone, and he... will remain like this until the... He's been frozen cold. He will remain like this until the end of days. Well, buddy, I'm sorry that this has happened to you. I think our time's up. Oh, he's back. What the fuck happened to you?
Okay. Unmute yourself on Discord.
Unmute myself on Discord? Okay.
Okay. So my internet died for like a little bit there.
We saw. It was a glorious moment.
Our Zoom call's dead.
Oh, our
so
Zoom call's
yeah, I can only speak through Discord unless we reopen that call.
Okay. I don't need to reopen the Zoom call. We'll just hang out here.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I think your microphone is set to your ear mic though, because you're like rubbing. I can hear it rubbing.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
That was hilarious. That was a great moment. You'll have to look back on that one. I was just about to end it. I didn't think you were coming back.
Oh, that's funny.
Your face was frozen in time, and it was a stupid face. What were we talking about?
I don't remember.
Oh, my birthday!
Oh yeah. Who is it?
Mr. Zero Crocodile!
Oh, okay.
It's my spirit animal, motherfucker!
Get a crocodile onesie.
I was pretty okay with that. I was like,
oh,
damn, mysterious Mr. Zero, bring it on. I thought for sure it was going to be like Usopp. So I'm excited about that. I will let you know when your birthday gets hit, if ever.
Cool.
What's your prediction? Who has your birthday? Noodle Man, the only person you know about in the future.
If Noodle Man shares, here's my promise. If Noodle Man is my One Piece birthday buddy, I'm gonna quit doing this.
Well, I guess we're just gonna go until Noodle Man gets hit, and then we'll be.
Don't look it up now. Don't look it up when Noodle Man comes.
I don't want spoilers.
Okay.
I'm typing them into the timeline as we go. I don't want to know until we hit that moment in the show. So we'll see. Right. I'll let you know. Before we go, we are actually a little bit over time, but fuck it. It's our show. We can do what we want. I want a prediction for Alabasta. So FYI, everybody, next week we're not going to Alabasta. We're taking a break for
the holidays.
I mean, it is December 1st.
December is a fucky month, man.
Maybe next week we should do a podcast about the movie. Because I feel like we can get another podcast in it, or maybe two even, because I think the 15th, I'm not going to commit to two, but we could definitely get one in. So maybe we should do like the first movie next week.
It's a thought.
That could be fun. Brainstorming live for everyone to hear. I would like to do something next week. Maybe a recap of like what we've already done, like go kind of back and talk about our favorite moments and least favorite moments. Something. We'll
figure something out.
We'll brainstorm it. There will be a podcast next week. We can swing next week, right? You can? Or no?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there will be a podcast next week, but it's not going to be about Alabasta. We'll just have to wait and see what it is. Because we don't want to get cut off Alabasta around Christmas and then have you guys have to wait a couple weeks to see the end of it. We want to be able to rush through week by week. It'll probably be 2 or 3 parts. So that is coming on the horizon. Check out the YouTube channel for all your content. You want some tier lists? You can have them. You want some podcasts? You can have them. You want some highlights? We got them. Check out the YouTube. Subscribe. Once we hit 100 subscribers, you don't have to have your stupid Kobe border anymore.
Thank God.
So, we're going to finish this show. Regardless, what is your prediction for Alabasta? Part 1. I don't care. What's your prediction in general? Just give us the whole rundown. How does it start? How does it end?
They arrive at Alabasta. They are taken as pirates, but then they're freed because they have Vivi. The civil war ignites, and then they're having to choose to fight people. And then they have to fight that one clown guy that showed up. He doesn't look like a clown. He's just very weird looking.
Buggy
No,
comes back.
like Mr. Two
you
or something.
Predict that Buggy comes back.
Von
Clay.
Von Clay. They fight him.
Yeah.
Culminates in them fighting Crocodile.
The end.
They
sail off, and you don't think V's kingdom burns to the ground?
Nah.
What do you think's the percent chance it burns to the ground?
10%
chance. That's not bad odds. Fair enough. We'll just have to wait and see. We do have a new buddy on the ship now. What do you think about that? You excited to see what Chopper brings to the mix? Are you happy that he finally has friends?
I mean, I never really got that emotionally attached to Chopper.
Well, he's a heartless being. He hates any animal except Chow Chow, who had the least amount of backstory among any of them. So,
Sorry.
Fuck everyone, I guess. We'll have to see where he lands on the tier list, because we will be having a tier list this week. We've got enough characters for sure at this point to add some, as well as some new Jolly Rogers.
Yes.
So I'll stop rambling. You got any final words?
No.
Nope. All right, everybody. We will see you next Tuesday, not with Alabasta. Thanks for watching the 1ZP Ska podcast. We love y'all very much, and goodbye.
Bye.
Uh-oh.